Do you know what the loyalty trap is? And when I say loyalty trap, I'm asking you this question. Have you ever been faced with the context that you know your company loves you, but they won't promote you? They love you, but they don't let you grow. That's because you have been the most loyal, the most committed, the most effective leader in the organization, but you can't get promoted. And your loyalty is not being rewarded. Instead, you're being punished. And if you don't believe me, I can give you a dozen examples. But here's one that I'm going to give you. This is a leader who was in an organization for 14 years. 14 years. And for 14 years, he became so trusted with cleaning up messes and solving problems that they all would say, "We can't afford to lose you." They said repeatedly, "We can't afford to lose you because you're so good." But they never saw him good enough to be promoted into a more senior position. And that's what I want to talk about today, is that how your loyalty is actually working against you because you're more focused on loyalty than you are figuring out how to use it to leverage yourself for a bigger impact in the organization. And this is what I call the hidden cost of being a team player that falls you into the loyalty trap, that leaves you stuck, not playing the role you want to play, having the impact you want to have, making the difference that you really believe that you can make and that you should be making because of loyalty. So when I say the hidden cost of loyalty, you're the person who delivers every single time. You meet every single goal, you knock out every KPI, you have every single reason to claim success, but you're stuck in the same role. And that's because everybody is told, we're all taught to be a great team player. Be a great team player. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman named Patrick Lencioni who wrote a book called The Ideal Team Player. Here's what the book frames up. The ideal team player is hungry, humble, and smart. Now, when they say hungry, they're saying this person is hungry to do more things for the company, to help the company to achieve its goals, that they are hungry for responsibility. They're hungry for more opportunity. They're hungry to get things done for the company. That's absolutely true. Then the second one is humble. This person doesn't brag. They're not a swagger. They let their work speak for them. They don't tout their own horn. They don't get above their britches or think they're bigger than their britches. They're humble and they're smart, meaning that they're competent, they're capable and skilled and knowledgeable in that which they have been hired to do. Those are the ideal team player statistics, according to, not statistics, but the ideal attributes of a team player: hungry, humble, and smart. Now, here's some other ones that I would say, or words that I would say differently to describe what a team player is. It's the person who stays committed, that they don't just jump from job to job, company to company, or project to project. They stay committed. This person also goes above and beyond what they're asked to do. That you might have a job, but you don't just do the 10 things you're asked to do. You do thing 11 and 12. Like you literally are doing more because you are committed. You're going above and beyond. And then the third context is that you're the person who can cover everybody else's gaps, that you clean up people's messes. And you are the one who keeps the chains moving. So when I say clean up other people's messes, and going back to that example I just raised, this is a leader who worked in the restaurant industry. Not for a mom and pop, but for a global conglomerate restaurant brand, a company. Okay. And he happened to be in a region where the senior leadership did a terrible job of hiring talent. So in every one of their stores, they would be upside down in terms of revenue, poor customer service complaints. They had all kinds of challenges. And then they would call my guy in to fix it, to clean up the hiring manager's messes. And every time he got called, he would go in there, get everybody on the same page, turn the team around, and the store would now be successful. And he didn't just do this one time, that he did it every time that he went. More than 5 times, they moved him to 5 different stores that were in a mess before he got there, and he cleaned up the mess. And he kept the chains moving. And he developed a reputation that he was the go-to guy. He was the safety net. He was the person that if all else fails, call him, he will turn things around. He became so indispensable that they would say the words, "We can't afford to lose you." Now, the words "can't afford to lose you" sound good when you hear somebody saying about, "Oh man, you're so important to everything that we do. We can't afford to lose you." But then you got to start to ask the question, how long have I been hearing that phrase? Is it 1 year, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years? How long have you been hearing the words, "We can't afford to lose you"? So much so that you know that you're indispensable in your current role. But at the same time, you're invisible for the next one. Can you imagine being indispensable, but invisible at the same time? That you're indispensable to what people see and need right now in the organization, but you're invisible when it comes to promotional opportunities for leadership roles and other opportunities within the organization. Indispensable, but invisible at the same time. And the reason why you are like this is because you've fallen into the loyalty trap. Your expectation, your belief system, your whole framework is that if I just let my work speak for me, then I'm going to be good. That I don't have to ask for more. I could just do what I'm asked to do and then do a little bit more, and they will see the value that I have, the value that I bring to the organization. I'm here to tell you that that is not the winning strategy. As a matter of fact, it's a leadership limiter that you may not see yourself going to the level that you want to go and you need to go because you're limiting yourself. So now, here's what I'm going to tell you and teach you. I'm going to give you the 3 leadership limitations, as I call it. These are like strategic limiters that keep you from being promoted by the people who are in senior leadership. And when I say senior leadership, think about the people who are senior in the organization. They're looking for people to help them to achieve the biggest and most important parts of the firm, of the organization, of the company, of the mission-driven business that you're involved in. And here's limiter number 1, that you're seen as operational and not strategic. That they see you as a tactical person, a tactician, someone who gets things done, but not the person that they need to bring into the conversation when it's time to create the strategy or to pivot the strategy. They see you as someone who can go and deliver, but when it's time to create the strategy, they don't want you in the room. Not that they don't want you in the room. They're not looking for you in the room. They're not asking you, "Hey, we need to have him in the room when we have this conversation," because you're not seen that way. You're seen as operational, not as strategic. Now, the second challenge is this, that when you become the fix-it person, when you become the mess cleaner up, the cleaner, the fixer, the solver, whatever team you fix, you inherit the brand and the attributes of that team. What do I mean inherit it? If you are the person who turned the team around, they begin to start to think that, you know what, if he leaves this team, the team is going to go back to being crap. So they don't literally see you as a person that they can move out of the role, because if you move, then everything is going to go back to a mess like it was before you got there. So you become the fixer, the cleaner, the team player, the one who solves the problem, but you're inheriting the brand. You're inheriting the limitations of the team that you lead. And that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be beholden to some other mess that somebody else created, or the ability for your team to perform. Your work doesn't separate from the team at all. They don't see you as someone who, you know what, he's done a great job of developing the people around him, that we could take him out of the picture and put him somewhere else, and that team is still going to highly perform. You don't want to be the person who is colored by the tint and the taint of the team that you lead. Whatever their limitations are, become your limitations. You don't want to be that. Okay? And here's the last one of the limiters. And then I'm going to give you 3 things you can do to change this. Here's the last one of the limiter. You start to talk yourself out of opportunities, because you start to say, I can't leave my team hanging. That I would be deemed disloyal if I left this team. I can't walk away from this now. This is my team. I built this team. So if I walk away from them now, I'm going to look bad. No. You don't need to talk yourself out of opportunities. You need to talk yourself in to higher leadership roles. You need to prepare yourself to take on a higher leadership role. But the last thing you need to do is to talk yourself out of it by saying, you know what? I can't leave my team hanging. I can't leave them hanging. I got to stay here. They can't afford to lose me, so I can't afford to leave my team. That's the mindset that people end up putting themselves in. And I'm telling you right now, that is limiting your ability to have a bigger impact. So now I'm going to tell you what you need to be doing instead. How do you need to flip your mindset? How do you flip your mindset so that you are no longer being stuck in a loyalty trap? That they don't, just love you so much that they leave you where you are, but they love you so much that they leverage your skills, expertise, influence, and impact for a greater impact in the organization. And it starts with you doing some important work. Here's the most important work you need to do, is that you need to name your next move out loud. You need to name your next move out loud. So let me explain it to you in a way how I've done this and I leveraged it. There was a time I worked for the President of the United States in his administration, and I was a senior leader over a team. And when I came into that role, the team had some challenges. The team were good people, but they had a boss who wasn't good. That boss left the organization, and then I was brought in as a replacement for that leader. And I turned the team around. We were engaged, we were dynamic, we were performing, we were doing some of the most critical work that needed to be done at a critical time in our nation's history. And we were having a lasting impact. And I continued to build the team. But I knew that I wasn't going to lead that team forever. So I had no fear at all letting my team know and letting my superiors know I'm not going to be here forever. I got some other things that I want to do. I want to play a bigger role. I want to have a bigger impact. So it was crystal clear, unambiguous to everybody in the organization that Anton is not going to be here for the rest of his life. That Anton may not be here 18 months from now. That Anton is not going to be the guy that turns off the lights at the end of the administration. I was super clear that I was not going to be there forever. It was not a surprise to anyone, my superiors, nor my team. So I named my next move out loud. And if you want to be leveraged in your organization, then you got to name your next move out loud. And I'm not saying you have to leave the organization like I did, but I'm saying if you have your eyes and sights and set on a division, a new role, a senior position, then you got to name it out loud. I believe that I'm ready for the C-suite. I believe that I'm ready to be an SVP over this work. Don't matter if somebody else is in the job. Let me tell you why that doesn't matter. Because I've seen organizations create roles for leaders that they deemed incredibly valuable, that they wanted them at that senior level. They've carved out responsibilities from other people and put them together for this person to lead. It can happen any kind of ways, but it won't happen until you name your next role out loud. So that's the first thing that you need to do is you got to name your role out loud. Now, here's the second thing you need to do is you need to build your succession plan and create your legacy in real time. That means you need to know the 3 people's names that if you left and got a promotion to a bigger role right now, who could do your job just as good or better than you can. If you can't name 3 successors, then you're doing it wrong. You should have 3 people on your team who you have developed and prepared that if you leave, they can do your job just as good as you or better than you. Matter of fact, I hope you have trained them well enough that when you leave, they don't even remember that you had the job. That was also the second thing that I did. That I had 3 people in mind that could replace me. 2 of them were already on the team, but 1 wasn't on the team. And that one person we recruited inside of the organization. She became like a number 2 to me. And then the moment I left, she assumed the big chair and did an admirable job when I left. So you got to have a succession plan. You got to have a successor. You got to have a legacy of leaders who lead as good or better than you long after you're gone. That's the greatest mark of a great leader. Because, as Miles Monroe would say, success without a successor is a failure. If you don't want to be deemed a failure, you got to have a successor who can do the job just as good or better than you can if you leave. That's the second thing, is to have a successor. Then the third and final thing is that I want you to understand you need to use loyalty as a business asset. What do I mean loyalty as a business asset? You have to position yourself, your knowledge of the organization, your knowledge of people and processes in the organization to say, hey, I know I can have a deeper and bigger impact because of my institutional knowledge about the challenges and the opportunities we have. And you need to say to the leaders, I want to leverage my business knowledge and assets for the good of the organization. And I can't do it anymore from the position that I'm in. So I'd love for you to consider me for opportunities where I can leverage my knowledge and organizational influence for a bigger role, for a bigger impact in this organization. So you got to see your loyalty is just not just I'm loyalty to a fault. See, healthy loyalty is relational, but unhealthy loyalty is positional, meaning that you don't want to be stuck in the position. You want to be relational to the leaders in the organization that they see how you can play a bigger role. So there you have it. You got to change your mindset. There is a hidden cost to being loyal. The loyalty trap will keep you stuck in the same position and not getting promoted. So you can be committed. You can go above and beyond. You can be the person who fixes everything, who cleans up messes, who keeps the chains moving. You can be seen as the go-to guy in your organization. But it is going to leave you stuck. You're going to be deemed indispensable, but invisible for leadership opportunities. But if you want to change that, you need to do the following 3 things. Number one, name your next move out loud. What role do you want to play? Name it out loud. Number two, you need to develop a succession plan. Find your successor. Train them, develop them, support them, grow them, so that when you leave, that the team that you led doesn't lose traction, doesn't skip a beat. As a matter of fact, hope that they're so good that they don't even remember that you were in that role in the first place. And thirdly, use your loyalty as a business asset. Leverage it by saying, I got knowledge, skills, and experience that could be doing more than what I'm doing. And I want to be considered for those opportunities. There you have it. That is how you know that you are the leader who's ready for the next level. That you don't want to be the leader where they say they love you, but they won't promote you. And you didn't know why, but now you know why. I want to thank you for watching. Everybody have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time on Leadership Live with Anton Gunn. Take care.